and welcome to another edition of the Superintendent Corner. As this is Gary Vanna, joined by the Mr. Acom. How are you doing today, Scott?
I'm doing well. How are you?
We're doing very well here. You know, it's a changing of seasons, and it's kind of been some nice warm days. We've had some snow days in there, but we're still okay on that. And it's just, you know, the end's starting to ramp up, and you got some stuff ramping up on your end too, don't you?
We do. Not only at the end of the school year, we have state testing coming up for all of our kids. That really hits the ground running after spring break. Spring break is coming, and hopefully everyone will get an opportunity to see sunshine over spring break, and we don't have snow over spring break. So,
well, especially in Florida, that's where I will be. But, well, other thing that's coming up, besides state testing, stuff like that, is a sinking fund and a bond,
correct.
which are two different things.
They are two different things, yes.
Are they two different items on the ballot?
They are two different completely separate items on the ballot.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's start off with the bond.
Okay.
Some things you want to highlight on the bond, or?
Yeah, I can highlight several things on the bond. So the bond proposal on the ballot will be asking the voters to approve a 1 mil bond for 8 years. That bond will help us purchase 10 buses. Our bus fleet is aging. It's declining. We're having a lot of repairs on our buses. We currently have 11 bus runs, plus one Little Blessings run that we run to Little Blessings after school for latchkey for our kids. But we have a total of 16 buses. 11 are on runs, regular runs. One is on Little Blessings run. That's 12.
Yep.
We have 3 spares, and then one that's out of commission and needs repair. We're not going to spend the money to repair it.
Okay.
So we only have 3 spare buses currently, which keeps it pretty tight. We have field trips coming up, for example, and we have kids going to Mackinac coming up, and usually we're able to send a handful of buses with parents and chaperones, and the kids. This year we're only able to send 2 buses.
Wow.
That won't be able to have chaperones on the bus. They'll have to drive separately, just because of our limited number of spares. And that only leaves 1 spare bus here for us. If we have a breakdown, we only have 1 left. So we're seeing some limitations on what we do with our busing. And busing is one thing that we don't have to provide as a school district. We don't have to provide it. It's a privilege. But it's one thing that we want to keep for our kids. We want to keep safe busing for our kids because parents rely on that, and we want to get our kids to and from school safely. Other thing on the bond is to replace the track. The track, the community track, I'm pointing because it sits over there.
Yeah.
We use that for track and field. NMC uses it for track and field events. And we also use it for our classroom in the spring and fall for our gym classes. It's also viewed as a classroom. The track is about 30 years old.
Yep.
It needs repairs. It's got quite a few cracks in it. And some of our field events for the track we can't use. Like for long jump, for example, we have bare concrete showing that causes slippage for athletes and could cause injury. So to host meets, we have to reach out to schools and let them know the condition of our track. And a lot of times schools don't want to come and compete on our track. But with the cracking on it, we do have to go down to the foundation and replace the foundation of the track, which is quite a process. But when we repair it, we don't want it to start cracking again. We want to make sure it's done correctly. That's why we would have to go to that extent for the track. And that would also include a handicap accessible path around the track to the visitor side of the field and to the field event side. And also, if we're tearing out the track, we might as well replace the irrigation that's aged on the football field, and we're having a hard time finding replacement parts for our irrigation too.
Yep.
So that would all be included in the 8-year 1 mil bond.
Okay. Is there any other deeper things that are in there that you would like to mention besides just the track and the buses?
That's all that's in the bond.
Okay, so it's just track and buses.
We wanted to keep the bond smaller to help keep interest rates lower.
Okay.
And with the buses in there, we feel like if we can get that in, sorry, my radio's going off. As a district, our goal is if we can get this influx of buses, we'd have 10 buses over 4 years. It would be our goal that we start purchasing a bus out of our general fund every year and get back on that cycle, so we never have to ask the voters again for buses.
Okay.
Which would keep us on a very good cycle.
Now, that's the bond.
Mhm.
Buses, track only. And then there's a sinking fund. What's that?
So we have a sinking fund, which is basically a savings account, right? So the district collects the millage rates ourselves from the townships. We collect those in December. Well, the tax bill goes out in December, and we collect those in the early part of the year. Then we can use that money for projects. And some of the big projects that we're looking for with the sinking fund and needed projects, biggest one right now is technology for our students.
Okay.
McBain had a tech and transportation bond for several years that has expired, has gone off the books. And the district was able to purchase technology for our students, our one-to-one technology through our COVID dollars or ESSER funding,
Okay.
which that money is no longer. We're not able to use that money. But the amount that we spend on students' technology, you're looking at around $210,000 to $230,000.
Wow.
General fund would take a big hit if we were to provide that, and we wouldn't be able to provide that long as a district. That's why we're asking the voters for that. But we're also asking for different needs too. We need roof repairs that are costly, that our general fund can't take care of. Also our middle school gym floor. That needs to be addressed, and we did some core sampling on that, and we have asbestos under the gym floor, which that has to be abated. So as soon as we touch that gym floor, and start removing it, we have to have that abatement come in.
Oh, wow.
Which is costly. So, and that's nothing against, asbestos was used during that time when the gym was built. That was a prevalent product, if you will. The other thing too is secure entries. We really need to make sure and lock down our entries, high school especially. And with the sinking fund, we would look at moving the high school office over here to Roland Street. So all the offices are on the same side of the building. And then it creates a secure entry where people are able to enter the high school office immediately, rather than walking through portions of the school to get to the office. So there's a lot of projects that we need to do that a sinking fund would allow us to do. And the nice thing about a sinking fund is it's a pay-as-you-go system, but also there's no interest. There's no debt incurred. It's interest-free.
Okay.
There's three ways, Gary, to pay for operational costs and projects. You have your general fund, which we pay for projects out of there.
Yep.
Regularly, but we also pay our salaries, and we pay for school supplies and classroom supplies and equipment. Then you also have the bond, which is a loan, which we can buy buses from. A sinking fund is also, we ask our voters for money, but it's interest free and it's pay as you go. It's a cash system, which we're able to do these bigger projects that won't take away money from the kids in the classroom. Which is our biggest concern. Sinking funds, we can't buy buses.
Okay.
That's why we're looking at the bond. Sinking fund it's currently not allowed to purchase buses through a sinking fund.
So, let me ask some timelines here.
Mhm.
Sinking fund, student technology. How long would we look at it taking to be enough money in that sinking fund to start buying student technology out of there? Do we have to save up for 4 years to do it? Is it
So
2 years or?
That would be on a per year basis. So technology we'd be able to purchase per year.
Starting right at year 1?
Yes.
Okay.
So my understanding, and my understanding from the attorney and the financial advisors there is a sinking fund is we can start spending that money before we collect it. So if it passes the election in May and we don't draw down until December, we're able to purchase those devices after July 1st, which we would typically do for a school year budget, and then pay the district back because that had already passed for the election cycle. So that would help us
Okay.
this next school year. A bond, we would hope to get our monies, go out and sell the bonds. We would do it in stages so that we could purchase our buses in stages. First year, we would buy 3 buses and we would hopefully have them delivered in the fall. We'd have our new buses here, ready to hit the road in the first semester of the school year.
Okay.
So it would definitely benefit benefit our students. If both approvals pass is what we're asking the voters, for both approvals to pass. It would save the voters' interest, and also address the needs of the district that are needed. We're really not asking for wants, we're asking for needs.
All right, now, is there any meetings set up for these people to find out more about these bonds or sinking fund, or?
Yeah, we had meetings, we had a meeting last night, that we had people in attendance. We also stream those meetings and record those meetings, and you can find those on the Rambler Review YouTube page.
Yep.
That those are on there. But we also have meetings coming up on Tuesday, April 11th
Okay.
at 7, Monday, April 17th at 6,
Okay,
and then Tuesday, April 25th at 7. We do have flyers posted throughout the community, and we will have these on our Facebook page as well as emails to parents and staff that we have their email accounts for. So we do have meetings coming up, but please feel free to watch those online. I believe we have 3 currently online of those meetings.
and we're gonna be meeting once a week talking about the bond and the sinking
Correct.
fund for the rest of March. So if you want to email a question to us, I can ask it during our little interview.
Yeah,
And then
great.
maybe you can get feedback that way also.
That's great.
So, anything else?
Yep, if you could just let me talk about the voting precincts
There we
as
go.
well. My understanding is that we're still waiting on one county's election board to approve this, but it sounds like it's all it's just a process. It sounds
Okay.
like these will be it. So Richland Township, precinct 1, would be Richland Township and Wexford County Clam Lake Township.
Okay,
City McBain would be City McBain, Reeder Township, Ayetna Township, Holland Township, Lake Township, and Osceola County Highland and Marion Township.
okay,
And then Riverside Township would host Riverside Township, Clam Union Township, and Clare County Winterfield Township. So we'll have 3 different polling locations where people can vote. Absentee ballots will also be available starting on, I believe, March 23rd.
excellent, excellent. Well, getting you updated, we'll keep you updated on the bond and the sinking fund. Make sure you know your information and ask any questions, because we wanna make sure you're well informed before you go to the polls.
Correct.
A joke?
A joke. I have a joke about a pizza.
You do.
It's way too cheesy.
This is Gary Vanna.
Scott Acom.
Feel the wheel.